Welcome, Entrepreneur Nation, to another episode of Entrepreneur Unplugged. I'm your host, Rolando Castro. On today's episode, we have entrepreneur Mr. Leo Infante. Leo, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here, Rolando.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you. So for the Entrepreneur Nation who doesn't quite know you yet, let them know who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Leo Infante. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a current mortgage lender. I work for California Financial. Been doing this for about 13 years now. I'm the youngest from 3 siblings. I got my parents that immigrated here from Mexico. When they got here, they came to go ahead and, start a new life because Mexico was a little bit tough for them. My parents actually met at a sweatshop. You could basically say it. They're sewing and everything, and they're basically only making 5 cents a sewing.
A piece,
a
right? Yeah.
piece. That's how they'll do it. And that's where they actually met. Eventually, they fell in love. They got married, and they had 3 kids. And of course, I'm the youngest one. So from there, my dad, he wanted to go ahead and be self-employed. You could basically say. So he started his own gardening business. And, the typical Mexicans, they want to go ahead and show you the right way to grow up, basically. But it was always tough times. So basically, once I turned about 5, almost going to 6 years old, he actually started taking me out to work out in the field, cleaning mountains, pushing the lawnmower, whatever had to be, done.
5 years old?
Yeah,
wow.
5 years old.
Yeah.
So from there, my only pay for that, because I was young, I didn't know better, will be a bag of chips and maybe a hamburger, maybe.
Wow.
But that's what he would pay me. So, it would just went on and on. My mom kept doing the whole, working at the sewing company. And then from there, once I started school, she actually applied for it, and she was basically, I'm not sure how you call it, the superintendents that take care of the kids in recess and everything. So it was a little bit awkward, having your mom there.
Oh, so you actually went to school with your mom watching you.
Pretty much.
So you had your dad watching you at work, right? Like you can't even play with your friends. Your dad's watching, make sure you're doing the work right. And then you go to school, you have your mom.
Exactly.
Man, I would hate to be you at 5 years old.
Yeah, and then of course the teachers, and if I would do something wrong, they knew who she was. They knew she was my mom, so they'll go over there and run to her and give her the cheesemate, basically, you could say.
Oh wow!
So I had to try to behave a little bit.
So I'm pretty sure all those values that now you see that your parents were giving you, were instilling in you, right? Have made you who you are now. But I don't want to touch upon that just yet. Okay, we'll go into that. I want to talk about your humble beginnings, because I know that you had it really rough. Aside from having to work at 5 years old, I'm pretty sure that your entrepreneurship came from your father, right? But take us into the growing up in Highland Park, which of course was not a very popular area to grow up in, and you were exposed to a lot of things that would have detoured you into the darker stages, right? So take us into those.
Right. So basically, like you mentioned, Highland Park at that time when I was growing up, I mean, it wasn't the best time. Things have cleaned up, recently. If you talk about it now, people don't really see it how we had it back in the day, because it wasn't just Highland Park. It was basically anywhere where you grew up. It was really tough. You couldn't go down the street or anything without being jumped, without being asked where you were from or something like that. So it was easily to go ahead and, you could join a gang. You could do a lot of bad stuff, basically, you could say. So from there, I mean, it was really tough just to even play outside. Even at 6, 7 years old, they didn't even care. If you had nice jewelry or something like that, they'll take it. They don't care how old they are. They could have been 20. It actually happened to me when I was maybe about 9 years old, where somebody just came and,
take your chain. Of course, you're going to fund their drug habit.
Exactly. So basically, you need to know how to fight, whatever. But it was really tough because, your parents always working and everything, and you're at home basically taking care of yourself. I know now parents, they're really... they protect their kids a lot. Back then you used to walk to school by yourself at at a young age and everything. Things were a lot better. So it was really easy to go into the wrong side. And when I was working with my dad and everything, it was really, really tough, because you'll be going out there. I couldn't have a childhood or anything like that.
You grew up pretty much working.
Right. And I saw my cousins and everything. They will, the parents were, a little bit more situated. You could basically say they'll have their Segas, they'll have everything, and
all the latest gadgets.
All the latest gadgets. Me, I really didn't have anything. My
Mhm.
parents couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So the only way we could make a living is just, me helping them out to
Wow.
have more money,
Mhm.
So from there, I mean, it was really tough, because you wouldn't, I would be with my dad, my mom would be at work, my sisters will have to help my mom around the house or anything like that. So, and we lived in a really small house. So from there, I mean, there's a time where we really didn't have much money. So at that time, I mean, what we'll have to do actually is, sometimes like in Albertsons or anything like that,
Yeah, you mentioned that.
sometimes they'll go ahead and throw away the food that they couldn't sell anymore. So what we will have to do is, go and grab it,
Wow.
and we
Wow.
will eat that food because my parents could afford to actually, feed us food
Mhm.
or anything like that. So that's where we had to go
This
from.
is the first time you share something like that with anybody?
Yeah, a lot of people don't
Wow.
know the
Yeah, I didn't know that.
background
Yeah,
from me.
until you I read it in your bio,
Right,
and that's yeah. I mean, that's very tough.
right.
Yeah.
That you can't really have a childhood. So a lot of kids could say that they had a childhood and maybe they're successful here or whatever it may be, but I feel that really made me the person who I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, we were struggling, and I believe back then there was a time where the market crashed as well, like the ones
Yeah.
that we recently had. So my parents actually lost the home where we were actually living
Right.
at.
You lived in the street for a while, right?
Yeah, we actually lived in the street for at least 2-3 months,
Wow.
sleeping in an alley.
Wow.
So from there,
Wow. I'm
after
speechless. I don't know what to say to that. Wow.
yeah, so after 3 months after that, they actually were able to save up enough money, and we actually got an apartment, but in the really bad side of Highland Park.
Make matters worse.
Yeah, even made it worse where I saw a lot of violence. At that point, I really didn't have a choice. I actually went into the bad side.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only way I was able to go ahead. You could say stay alive in the streets, stay alive being out there.
Be with the crowd.
Be with the crowd,
Yeah.
exactly. So that was only the tough time too, and not just that. Going a little bit backwards on what we're talking about. Another part where I actually struggled, where I mentioned my mom worked at my school.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know this about me. I actually have a learning disability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can't really. I mean, I could know what's going on and everything, but if I read a book or something like that, you might get it in the first time, but on me, I will have to read it at least 2-3 times so it could stick in my head.
What's that label they gave you?
What was it? That was I just basically just said it's a learning disability.
Okay, because a lot of I mean Richard Branson,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of prominent people have learning disabilities, but what they're good at is they're good at delegation, which
Right.
a lot of us are not good at delegation
Right.
because I can read this for me, and as entrepreneurs, that's a skill that we all wish we had.
Right. So it was in that part. So I had a lot of obstacles in life. I had struggling with just basic life stuff. Not being able to eat well. Home stuff. But also I had going to school was really tough for me too, and I was acting out a little bit. Why? Because again, I had a learning disability. So I would take those classes where you only have not many students. So I wouldn't want my friends to know that I was in it. So you basically had to like pretend that you weren't and pretend that you were in the other crowd.
Yeah, trying to fit in.
Exactly, try to fit in. So all through high school and everything, a lot of people didn't know because I kind of knew how to hit it. But from second grade all the way until I graduated, I've always had that. They never really wanted to take me out of that program.
Wow. And you graduated high school in that program?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went through all high school and everything, with the learning disability. It got improved a little bit towards the end and everything, but I've always struggled.
So look at you now, successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure somebody out there, that's from the entrepreneur nations, I like to call, that might have that disability and might feel that they can never achieve anything great. And here you are, living testimony that no matter what they're going through in life, they can actually achieve something.
And that's one of my major goals is for one day to actually go back to my high school or go to any high school and talk to these kids.
I think you should. I think you definitely should do that.
That have a learning disability because, it's not all schools, but there's a lot of teachers, kids that they kind of put you down because they say, "Oh, well, you have a learning disability. You're no going nowhere in life."
Yeah, I mean the reason why I mentioned is a label because they're so quick to put a label and you're different and cyberbullying Actual real life bullying, it's at its all time high, and you could be the difference to someone's
and
life.
you know what? It doesn't really matter what people say. If you put your heart to it and you put your soul and your mind to it, you could achieve anything, no matter what. You know, and that's what I want to teach them. Doesn't matter you're in this class. Don't downgrade yourself or anything like that, because you could even be more successful than the other person in our regular classes.
Yeah, there's a great quote that I love by Les Brown, and it goes like this: "Is never let somebody else's opinion of you become your reality." And you didn't. So I do applaud you for that, Leo. So let's talk a little bit about the food stamp that you have in your office. Okay. Right? Why is that there?
So basically, I have the food stamp dollar in my office just for the main reason that for it to remind me of the tough times. To always, stay grounded and be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Only because you get money, you get a good commission check or anything shouldn't change you. Because we see that a lot in this industry. Of course,
it happens a lot.
Yeah, so you have to stay humble and give back whenever you can. And I'm a really big believer in giving back to the less fortunate and help them, probably get to the same level you are or even bigger. But
yeah, you do a lot of toy drives.
I do a lot of toy drives. We do charities.
Unfortunate kids.
Yeah, we do a lot of charities. We do anything that we could do to help out. If I hear a family, especially in these time of needs that don't have food in the table to celebrate Christmas or anything like that, I'll actually go and take them their food, whatever.
Because you were there. You were there.
Yeah, I was there, so I know how it feels.
I know Tony Robbins. He shared a story with us, and of course, he shared with millions that the reason why he feeds millions of people every Thanksgiving was because there was a point in his life where his family didn't have enough money to buy a Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
And family bought them dinner, and ever since then, he devoted that every Thanksgiving he's gonna feed millions of family. Now he's up to, I don't know how many million, but, based on what you went through, you use it as a reason why you're going to get better, why you're going to do better, why you're going to achieve higher success and whatever you define success, instead of using that as an excuse to be on the darker side.
Right. And another reason I have that, food stamp there is, like I mentioned again, to keep me humble, but also to remind me, the struggles, and motivates me every day to keep hustling, never to go back to that part. I'm not saying it's bad to be there, but it reminds me to keep working harder and harder and harder for me not to ever relive that part of my life again.
Or know that there's people out there that are living off of that might need encouragement, might need help. So I'm pretty sure it's a reminder in both ways that you don't want to be there again. And the reality is that there are people out there that unfortunately need that assistance, but one day can achieve great things in life.
Right.
Now let's fast forward. Okay. Let's talk about who you are now and what do you have accomplished. And also I want to ask you, looking back, started working at 5, looking back and living in the streets, looking back at living off of food stamps, how has that helped you become who you are now?
That's a good question. Going back a little bit and who I am and what made me who I am is basically reliving the past. A lot of people say you shouldn't live in the past, but live in the present. But sometimes you have to remind yourself, and once in a while I do go back and just sit out there where I grew up at and relive those moments to keep me grounded. So basically what built me and who I am now is knowing my struggles, knowing where I came from. So I try to stay as humble as I can. So I'm not money hungry or anything like that. If I could go ahead and, make $1 but help one family achieve their dream goal, that's who I'm going to do. Yeah. So basically that's who I am.
And did you ever see your dad say, "Dad, why did I start working at 5 years old?" Or do you say, thank you, Dad, for allowing me to experience what hard work is at 5 years old?
I have actually thanked my dad for that because it made me humble. It made me respect the dollar. Now kids, they ask you, "Oh, can I have $1 or can I have $20?" And you having kids, you know how it is. I have
2 boys, yes.
And and I noticed that a lot of kids lost that touch, or a lot of parents forgot how to teach the kids.
Fault, of course.
So basically, it's knowing the value of that $1. And I appreciate that he taught me that value, because I'll go ahead and try to teach it to my kids once they're there. And I'll actually take them back where I came from, show them the thing. So even if I have my own kids, it's really good to take them and show them, other people that are struggling. so they could, appreciate what they have.
Great, awesome, great mentality to have, and way to take your kids back to where you grew up, and let them know that, you know what, this is where Daddy grew up, and this is the struggles Daddy had. But look at what I became, and look at what I'm offering you, right?
Right.
So talk about who you are now. You run and operate your own lending institution, right?
Right.
Take us into your early struggles as an entrepreneur.
Well, like I mentioned, I've been doing this when I was started, like I was 20 years old. So when I started the industry and everything,
Started from the bottom.
Yeah, I started from the bottom. So the way I started was basically I was a security guard. Well, right after I graduated high school, I was
I was a security guard too. Yeah, for about a year.
Right. So I mean, I actually started right before 9/11.
Okay.
So they were making me do all these ridiculous stuff and patrols and everything. And I remember sitting in a security truck, remembering, just patrolling. It's like, what am I doing here? This is not something that I want to do. It just, have you ever heard of the term saying that, people just live check by check?
Yeah.
And some people feel comfortable
They're surviving,
about that. They're just surviving, and basically you go to work, you're doing the same routine. You're just basically bored because you're just doing the same routine, same routine. And, that's not who I wanted to be. So right after that, I remember, one of my sister's friends came over, and he actually worked for a company called WFG. It's almost something similar to the Prime America.
Yes.
Yeah, World Financial Group.
I went to a few of their events.
Right. So he invited me to one of his seminars. I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. And I noticed everybody was happy and everything. I just thought something was wrong, but I just went along with it.
Right. Because you weren't happy, right?
Yeah, I wasn't happy. And I saw people were happy and everything. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shot. It was only $100 to sign up and everything else. So I'm like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I was attending the meetings and everything, and he was teaching me the ropes. And I was like, all right, it's probably I could do something. I started with my family, refinancing their homes, doing all that stuff. And then, I just thought something wasn't right.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn as much as I can here, and then I'll venture out, with somebody that I know or something like that. So he actually left the company, and he opened his own real estate and mortgage company. So I followed him. And I learned so much. I mean, but the only bad thing is that, when I started there, everybody was just looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
So basically, they just hand you a piece of papers and everything. These are the contacts. These are the banks that we work with and everything.
The offices
do it on your own.
That way. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you need to learn it on your own.
Yeah.
Nobody was going to give you, now they have training classes and everything else. I didn't have none of that. So I just had to ask questions. So basically from there, we started just working really hard. One of my buddies actually came to join me to work with me. And we were actually, between him and me, we were one of the top producers of the office. Me and this other team, we're always competing against each other. And we will always try to, of course, win the other team. So from there, I just noticed, I'm like, okay, well, we wanted to go ahead and venture out on our own. So we did that. But literally 2 months later, that's when the whole market crashed. So, we lost everything.
Wow.
And
you're building momentum and then taken away from you.
Right. So everything was taken away from me. I remember sitting out one night and I was like, all right, I have to do something differently. What is it? Main thing is, don't waste your money and stupid stuff, basically, you could say. Save it. And just have it reserved right there. And then later on, invest it or, give back or do something. So all that experience from, going back to the dark stage and everything, it reminded me again.
Yeah.
So it gave me a second, basically I could say this is my second chance. And that's why I'm like, from here on, I'm just going to, work as hard as I can. And once I did that, I actually went to work for that bank, where they actually took me to. I was, really shy, really I wasn't sure if that it was for me again. They started me as a processor. And then luckily the owner of the bank actually really liked how I worked. I actually climbed the ladder really quick. I went to a doctor to a part-time, not part-time, but part funder and a little bit of underwriting. So I learned all the back end of the bank.
Wow.
So that's what has made me a lot stronger and out here and trying to help people out. Make transactions a little bit faster because I learned how the back operation works and how I sell in the front. So you combine those two out, you could move things faster.
You have
and,
a learning disability again?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't see that anywhere. Wow, that's incredible. How you're able to realize your own mistakes.
Right.
And most of us can't do that.
Right. And you know, the thing is just that if you have a passion for something, and that's what I learned, as long as you have the passion of it, you can, and also you can't really look into your learning disability because everything is mental. So if you keep telling yourself you have a disability or you can't do this because of this or anything like that, you know, your mind is going to control your body. You know, another thing that you know about me, I struggle a lot with my health.
Yes.
You know, I have ulcerative colitis, so I have struggled a lot with my health. I couldn't really do a lot of stuff. You know, I've always gotten bad news from doctors
You always
telling me that
yeah.
I'm always at my doctor's getting infusions, getting other stuff. But, you know, at the beginning, doctors will tell me, you know, you're not going to live a long life.
Wow.
You know, not like a typical, you know, you or anybody else. So that actually motivated me more because I actually have two nieces.
Yeah.
You know, so my mentality after I went back and everything, I'm like, okay, what are the one of the main changes I do? You know, like we mentioned, I'm like, you know what? One of the main things I want to do is, of course, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight this till the end.
Yes.
You know, and one of the things, like I look at my nieces, I'm like, you know what? I don't want them to struggle the way I struggle, and that's why I moved my family from Highland Park to Rancho Cucamonga, because I want them to not have the struggles I had. So my foundation, my motivation is to go ahead and create a solid foundation for them. So when, if anything does happen to me, you know, knock on wood, it doesn't, but they just say it does, you know, they have a company that they'll be able to run and take care and they'll be financially stable.
Wow.
You know, that's my main goal right there.
I applaud you for that.
You know, so
because
that's
you actually are still going through adversities, even as successful as you are now. And they don't seem to stop, right?
No.
But it only makes you stronger, and it makes you cherish life, for what it is.
Yeah, and you know, and I see a lot of people complain about small little stuff. I'm like, you can't let those stuff stop you. You know, you just have to keep attacking it. You know, and luckily, you know, like I said, I'm a fighter. I'm gonna fight till the end. You know, and luckily now my health has improved a lot more.
That's good.
Because like
I'm
I mentioned
happy for
again,
that.
you know, it's all mentality. If you keep telling yourself, I'm sick, well, I can't do this, you know, the mind's gonna control over your body.
Wow.
And you're not gonna achieve it. You know, and that's one thing I've learned.
Right. So what advice can you give someone who's viewing this that maybe has a label as well, because of that, they don't believe in themselves, or maybe has some type of illness that's is controlling their mind, which of course is controlling their body, but maybe they could do more for themselves. What advice would you give that person?
The advice I will give that person is basically don't give up. You know, don't matter what disability, what people say, or what illness you have, or what your background is, you know, step out of your comfort zone and just attack it. Just do what you believe is right, follow your heart, and you will get to the top. You know, you just have to go for it.
Great. Beautiful. Thank you for that advice. Now, looking back at your entire entrepreneur career, what's been the best piece of advice that you received?
The best piece of advice, you know, and it comes from my uncle. And it has always stuck in my head. You know, there's always issues with, you know, whatever's going around you. You know, one thing that he always told me is there's never problems. There's only solutions. And that has always stuck to my head. So even though right now, and I always apply it in my daily routine, you know, in our business, we're always going to have something a little problem, a little issue, whatever, but don't stress about it, you know, because there's always going to be a solution. Just relax, sit back, you know, take a deep breath and think for a while, you know, turn everything off, be by yourself, and you will find that solution. And that's one way that I became successful, or the point that I am right now, by not letting that little issues control my life. You know, there's things that are out of your control. Yeah. But once again, there's always solution to everything. So that always sticks with me.
Great. Is your uncle, you see him as a mentor? Is he still alive?
He's still alive.
Okay.
And he's like a mentor, not really, because I really don't see him much. Okay. But when I do see him, he always gives me great advice.
Okay, so he's a mentor whenever you see him, right?
Right.
So how do you? Are there any mentors in your life? Anybody that you know what this person has guided me in the right direction, has given me that advice that has helped me become who I am now?
Right. The only person, I mean, you could say two people. I had an uncle, basically, what I looked up to him a lot
Mm-hmm.
because he actually started his own company. He actually owns a window company. And he actually helped me out a lot. And I saw how he struggled and how he worked. He woke up every day at 3 a.m., won't get home till really late. He'll hit the books and everything. And I actually was there while he was starting that company.
Wow.
So I looked up to him. And, he gave me that inspiration to go ahead and do it myself. So I always looked at see how he did things, and I kind of applied a little bit things to my side.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have another mentor, somebody that pushed me every day. They'll at 6 a.m. in the morning they'll call me. The same guy, El Gran Leo, where are you? Wake up. And he will always push me to limits that I didn't even know I had.
Mm-hmm.
He never looked at me with a disability or anything like that. He knew my background. We actually grew up, near each other. He was a couple, like 2, 3 years older than me, but he always was there for me. Even if I had issues or anything like that, I will be able to talk to him,
Mm-hmm.
and we will find the solutions together.
Yeah.
Between him and me, we were basically, you could say, unstoppable.
Wow.
But unfortunately, 2 years ago, he passed away.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry. I was going to ask
yeah,
if he. Wow, that's unfortunate.
he lost his fight with cancer.
Oh wow, that must have been a big blow to you.
Yeah, and that's basically the one that I'm pretty sure you've seen it.
I
I
seen,
visit him
yeah.
on, I posted on Facebook.
You were there just a few days ago.
Right. He
Yeah.
actually, December 12th, it was 2 years that he passed away.
Wow, that must have been heartbreaking.
Right.
For his family, of course, for you, because he was your rock. He was that person that no matter what I'm going through, he's going to be there for me.
Right, because even though he wasn't my blood or anything like that, but I considered him my blood,
But blood doesn't always make you family, believe
exactly.
me.
So he was like my brother, my best friend, my mentor, everything you can imagine, He was always there when I needed him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when that happened, it was a big blow. So that's another thing that motivates me. If you go to my office, you'll see I have pictures of him too. We actually coach Little League, T-ball and everything else together. And, I go visit him, talk to him or anything like that. And I feel that he's always with me, pushing me.
Yeah.
And I do that because this is the dream that him and me had.
Wow.
So it's not just for me, but I'm also doing it in memory of him.
So it was leading on to my next question. What's your why? I'm pretty sure your why is to knowing that he's watching you.
Right.
Your why is to make sure that you fulfill that dream that you guys two had together.
Exactly. And also my why, you could basically say, are my two nieces. I don't have any children of my own, but I see my nieces as my own. I
see the way you the pictures you put with them, and it kind of seems like they're yours because you have a lot of love for them.
Right, and I do, and I will do anything for them. So basically, everything that I'm creating now is for them. Even if I get the chance to have kids and everything, of course it'll be for them. But of course, I would include them because, like I mentioned again, I'm building all this for them.
Wow, it's beautiful. How do you define success?
Success, it doesn't, the way I look at it, it does not really mean how much you have in the bank. Because that really doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Success is basically, you waking up every morning, helping out as many people as you can. Being out there, people knowing who you are, but not because, you're closing all these transactions. Is how many people you're really helping.
Wow.
And that's how I create, and how much are you giving back? That's what I say that's success.
Right, because somebody helped you in the past. Wow, beautiful. Right.
So that's what I say.
Well, great answer. Thank you. Now, looking back at everything you've been through, as a baby up until now, and you're still going through challenges, what have you learned about yourself?
What I've learned about myself is that anything that I put my mind to, I could achieve. I know there's like a lot of famous people, they failed 20 times.
Of course.
Michael Jordan, a lot of people like Michael Jordan, he really couldn't get into the NBA. Yeah. They're saying that he couldn't play, everything else.
But look at now. Cut from his high school team.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, he's a legend now. So basically, that's how I see it a little bit. Nothing should stop you. Even if you're out there, working, and you probably think one idea is correct, and you go out there and it fails, don't give up. Just tweak a little bit, wake up again every morning, really early. Think about what you did wrong
Mm-hmm.
and take from that and try to create it another way. And then that doesn't work, just keep going. Just don't give up.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, Leo, unfortunately, this is the end of our conversation. You shared a lot of information with us, and I want you to know that you went up in my book. I respected you a lot then. I respect you a lot more because I found some stuff out that I didn't know about you, and what you went through. I admire your hustle. I admire your dedication to succeed, and I'm really sorry you lost your friend. But know that he's watching you and he wants you to succeed, even more than what you're doing now.
Thank
Okay,
you.
but we got the unplug round, so we're not quite done. Okay, this is where we kind of let go of the little emotions. But you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, if you could talk to yourself at 20 years old, what advice would you give yourself?
If I could go ahead and talk to my 20-year-old self or 20 years ago.
20-year-old self.
20-year-old self. What do I say to myself?
And now we said off camera, okay?
You know what? I would probably tell myself not to give up. To give it your 120% every day. Wake up early. Go to sleep. Once you're tired or time that your body can't function anymore. I would just say to hit it really hard every day. Don't be scared to take chances and just go out there. Get in front of people's faces. Because that's what's going to make you more successful in life. Because in the beginning, I was scared to get in front of people. I was scared to talk, So that's how I will tell myself. Get out of your comfort zone.
Great. Perfect. What are you most grateful for?
Most grateful thing that I'm for is, knowing the experiences that I went through in life. I wouldn't change anything, even though it was tough. But I wouldn't change anything. And morally, that I became humble and became the man that I am now. Respect others.
Great. How do you define Leo Infante?
Okay, the way that I would define myself is just a hardworking guy that is out there to see how many people he could help out out in the world. Like I mentioned again, not for the money, but it's just rewarding them that they could get the American dream.
Right.
That's who I think Leo is. I'm here to help as many people as I can change their lives.
Well, my definition of Leo Infante is relentless. So never give up, brother. All right?
I sure will not.
Thank you.
Sure.
Like I always say, if our session together can help one person be inspired and know that no matter what they're going through, they too can achieve success, to this year, it's definitely a success. Entrepreneur Nation, on to the next one. Thank you.